Okay, friends, this is Callie Karen reporting from Sacrament City. The vendors are gone from this parking lot. And this was where they hired somebody's teenagers to sit with cold drinks and stuff for the 24-hour office that used to be Bank of America, right at the Broadway, 3800 Broadway and Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. And there's the Kevin Johnson office. I'm too lazy to walk over there, but still empty. Still empty. And they moved out in December, taking up the whole downstairs level of the senior center for Kevin Johnson to have his offices in there the last 15 years. But it looks like, see, they're rolling this shit up because they were just paying, to have a convenience of getting cold drinks. And then what were they doing? They had like the menus for some of these restaurants that don't have buildings down here where you could order stuff and they'd come and pick it up in this parking lot here. Kevin Johnson. You see what they've done to his sign. Everybody's putting graffiti all over it. And since I never come down here during the day, see that sign up there says, need a workspace? Book a tour. You can book a tour of the former Bank of America, in which I'm sure they said to the old folks proposal, oh, we're putting it right next door to the bank. So the old people can just go over there and use the bank. Well, look what they got it turned into now. Something probably ain't even nobody in here. They took out the ATM machine, covered the walls all up. That's me right there. But, what the fuck? Well, how is this going to help the old people? How is this going to help old people? There's not even anyone in there. This is just hideous. There's nobody in here. There's homeless people out on the street. And would it look like they moved a shipping container in there and put windows in it? Look like windows going down the side. I can't really push it. You can see right there. How is this helping the old people? Probably don't have cars and stuff. See? American Legion High School over there. And then that's the Broadway going towards the UC Davis Hospital and the Shriners Children Torture Hospital. And hi. I'm making a movie. I'm not talking to myself. Nice senior center, and Kevin Johnson had his people in all those offices down on the bottom floor. What were they doing in there? I asked the boy who was waiting for the bus with his other teammates. They were coming from the St. Hope Charter School, which is not right here, but further down that street over there. One of those streets over there, 38th Street or something like that. Anyway, it's down several blocks. And I asked those boys, what did St. Hope what is St. Hope doing? Like, he said, well, I said, what do they have that building down there for? What did he say? Oh, it's college track, because I talked to a girl who went to that school, and she's now doing her degree at UC Davis and working in the underground books that's owned by Kevin Johnson and his company called 40 Acres. And I asked them, what are they doing, St. Hope doing? See, you can see down there at the Happy Takeout, it's so busy, people don't pay attention. Well, what did he need a studio for? And what did the lady say who works at the underground book? She said, oh, that studio was so we could make commercials and stuff. Oh, right, so they could make commercials and stuff. She said, I said, do they allow the students to learn studio production and whatnot? And she said, no, they don't teach that. In fact, she said, they got rid of all the extracurricular music and different stuff like that they were teaching while she was going to the school. And she's like, I think in her third year at UC Davis. So she said while she was there, they cut out all the extra programs and whatnot that, you know, they sold the city on their charter school. So now they're just a school just like everybody else. And what are their mascot? Fucking dragons. It's the Sac High Charter School, St. Hope Charter School dragons. And they wear purple. Their jerseys are purple. So, and I asked the boys, what do you think they need a studio for? You think you seen them making any commercials or anything like that? And they said no. I said, well, what exactly does St. Hope do that's different from everybody else? He said, oh, they give out backpacks when it's time for school to start, you know, in I guess August and September. Oh, they give out backpacks. You know, churches give out backpacks. St. John's Shelter for Women and Children give out backpacks. All kinds of people give out backpacks. So what's so special about St. Hope that they got to, use this whole building? This whole section here was offices, you know, down this side for Kevin Johnson. There they go. The ambulance will be behind them because whenever somebody falls out from those vaccines, they send the fire truck and the ambulance so they can rack up money. Okay, so maybe there's 3 apartments down here on the bottom floor, possibly, that they gave to the senior people. And then the whole rest of the downstairs, except for that little lobby area, was for Kevin Johnson. What was he doing in there for the last 15 years? And why did he need a red velvet looking couch? And the reason I'm still recording, even though I'm passing the old folks home, this is the end of it. So it's kind of like a L-shaped building. Went down to the corner and then turned left. And there was the other wing where the red velvet couch was. So what I want to talk about now is, you see, somebody's making money developing this corner here. And in my view, well, I've seen projects get done, start and finish, while other projects here that have been renovating have been stalled. And so within the code enforcement, which is also taken over by the Ukrainian mafia, just like they've taken over the sheriff's department and the courts and the handling of the prisoners who are in the Sacrament City jail. Yeah, it's the Ukrainian mafia that's taken it all over. And they're also the ones evidently running the code enforcement, because I can tell you for sure that this big house we're going to see down here, it's some kind of a duplex that they built right on the Broadway, a big 2-story monstrosity. That thing, I saw the contractors leaving, and who was it? It was the same Mercedes Sprinter type vans, no windows on it at all. And they come out of up near Rio Linda, which is right near the I Street Russian Orthodox Church that was trying to drive this lady named Tammy off of her property. And I went there because I was taking pictures for the bank. Oh, here comes the ambulance. Because of course, oh no, it's a fire. It's a fire truck. Thought it was the ambulance. Well, they set the lady's house on fire, but that's not all they did. I was taking pictures for the bank. See this? You see this orange cone here? Why do they have an orange cone here? Are they indicating that this is where you get childs to do sex on them? This parking lot is all fenced in. Nobody can park in there. And I guess they got a gate back there off the street. But it's this church down here that also has an orange cone, so you can see it when you're driving by. There's no like, they're not redoing the sidewalk or anything. See, this is the one church where they do give out food, I think on Tuesday morning, and they moved all the other food distribution out of Oak Park, right? They used to have a giant one like once or twice a month. Now it's just an empty parking lot all the time. And if you want to go to food distribution, even though the food bank office is right here in the city, and they used to give food out in Oak Park, but since that's the second fire truck going down there. See that orange cone? Where's the construction? Where's the danger zone? I don't see it. What do they have in here? Al-Anon or AA meetings at All Nation Church of God in Christ. So they have their AA meetings, their Al-Anon meetings, and they mark it with the orange cone to let you know that if you're into children, you just got to look for the guy with the pedophile symbols or whatever. Or maybe he's got a funny nickname, and once you hear the nickname, who's running the meeting, you can buy yourself a child for sex. Because that's what those orange cones are for. There's no reason. Their whole thing is landscaped and all that. Why do they got an orange cone? It's to mark that that's a place where you can get children. Oh, God. Let's see. So back to the lady named Tammy. See, the Russian Orthodox Church on I Street, as in H-I-J, okay? They wanted to put the Orthodox Church there for the Ukrainians, so they put it there. And then these Ukrainians tried to drive this lady, Tammy, off of her property. And the reason I'm saying this is because she told me. I was scheduling an inspection, because I did insurance inspections also as part of my job. And they had set her house on fire. After they killed one or two of her dogs, and they caused her mom and dad both died since the Russian Orthodox said, they wanted to have that house for their visiting, probably their visiting pedophiles or whatever. They wanted to have a house, and her house was adjacent to the church, the Russian Orthodox church on I Street. And so I got the whole story from her because I was scheduling an inspection to come in and look at the work done on her house so far. And this is when they really try to take people's property, because insurance companies hold up the funds, and you have to mark a certain percentage is done of the work before they release any more money. And see if people have mortgages to pay and stuff like that. And then what? They're not living in their house because it had a fire in it. And maybe they're living in a hotel or something, but they only have a certain time to live in the hotel. But then the work's not done on their house, so they put people in a precarious situation of losing their properties when they have a fire or something like that. So, and what happened? Oh, I never got to go inside the house because almost as soon as I got done scheduling with Tammy, she said, "Oh, they want you to be there if you're the inspector, and their insurance company's going to be there, and I'm going to be there. Everybody's going to be there at the same time." So once I made the appointment with her, my guy that I worked under, Joe Birmingham, who lives up in Roseville, which is a Freemason place, Roseville, Rosemont, Greenwood, all those color names, those are code for the Freemasons run this shit. Okay? And so he lived all the way up in Roseville. He calls me and says, "Oh, Karen, I took that out of your queue. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do that inspection." Why do they want him and not me to go there? Because they're trying to steal this lady's property from her. And the Joe Birmingham doing the inspection was gonna fuck the lady over. I think it was 2018 when I was doing that job. 2018. And so I called Tammy back and I said, "Tammy, my supervisor that I'm doing this job for, after we got done talking, he called me and said, I took that out of your queue, so I'm not coming, Tammy." I said, my supervisor's coming, Joe Birmingham. And after that, I still had the regular inspections to go by, because what the banks do is they have somebody like me come by there taking pictures, and then report to the bank if somebody's living there. And so I stopped doing that job for a while because I just had to quit because I was only getting I don't even remember, what was I getting? $4 a house. I mean, $4 they're paying me. I got to drive, buy my own gas, rack up 80 miles a day on my car, and take photographs, probably like up to 8 photographs of the property from the outside, and then like walk around and look and see, are the lights on, all this stuff you got to do to say whether a property is being lived in or not. $4 or $6 a house I was getting, and if I had to go in using a lockbox, getting a key, taking pictures inside, I had to take multiple pictures of each room, and it wasn't worth the money that I was spending to do the job. So that house right there, I've already said, that house from start to finish was done, when there's other ones that have been in the process of renovation for years. for years. Because I lived in one of those guys' houses up in the Del Paso area, in which they did a bait and switch on me. Said, oh, we want you to come and be the house manager. You cook the meals for everybody. We give you this little tiny room to stay in. Everybody's paying $700 a month to live here. Okay. Well, the first month you got to pay because we don't know if you can cook. So I paid the first month. I made the meals for everybody. Then the second month I had, didn't have to pay no rent. But what did they do? Oh, we decided, we had a house meeting while you were gone on your day off, and we decided not to make the food anymore, for everybody just going to go for it, do their own food, which means the residents going to be stealing from each other's food, and everyone's going to pay $500. They don't want to pay $200 a month to have meals. So I paid them the first month, made all the food, all the meals, had one day off a week. And the second month, I got a free rent, and I made all the meals, one day off a week. And they had the meeting the second month I was there, and then they send me a text and said, oh, we had a meeting on your day off, and we're not going to have you cooking anymore. But you're going to have to pay $500 a month to live here if you want to stay. So that was the bait and switch. So by the third month, they were expecting me to pay them to stay there. Well, that wasn't the deal. I don't have money to pay rent $500 a month. And I don't want to live in a house with people who are going to be stealing my food from me. And what happened after that? The first time they said, oh, yeah, I stayed at the house, of course, and I forced them to file unlawful detainer papers. And the first time I made myself a meal for me and my friend, and I took it out to the van for him to eat. And by the time I went back in to get my food, the heroin addict guy and his wife, who had the converted garage as their room, had come out and fixed himself plates and dumped my stuff in a container and put it in the refrigerator. It was a enchilada casserole that I had made. And I said, Corey, what the fuck? I'm not cooking for you anymore. Why did you take my food? He just stole from me, man. So I made him pay me for the 2 plates, but that was fucked up. And then I end up having to move out again because what did they do? They got a default judgment against me because they didn't send the paperwork for the unlawful detainer to my mailing address. They sent it to that fucking house. And what happened? Oh, the guy that gave me the job in the first place had his lady friend snitch, steal the notice out of the mailbox and give it to him. And so I never got the notice that the hearing was scheduled. So I used to have to call every day, and I did that for like 2-3 weeks. And then I stopped calling every day. And by the time I called them and say, oh, your hearing was blah, 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 blah. Oh, really? Well, they didn't notify me that I had a hearing. My mailing address, I didn't get anything in my box. So they didn't even notify me of the hearing. And then what did they do? They had their attorney give me the credit, give me all the credit for all the intimidation and the bad stuff that was going on with the people in the house and stuff. And said that I was intimidating people and I was being violent and I was doing this and that. Well, that's the reason why he hired me for the job, because he had people in there who was being intimidating of the people that was supposed to be cooking and giving food to their friends who would come by and stuff like that. It was crazy. Criminals. But the Russians, the Ukrainians, are the ones that are building these properties here, like that right there. And all that construction that I showed you down the street, those are the Ukrainians doing that shit. And they're doing their gangster shit on the city. including running the jails and the code enforcement. So some people get code violations and get a bill every month until they fix the code violation. And some people do whatever they want and don't never get a code violation. So that's the news from Sacrament City.